Welcome to To It, a podcast for women in tech doing life. I'm Melinda Smith.
And I'm Chrissy Guzman. Hi, Melinda.
Hi, friend.
I'm super
Happy
excited.
Holidays.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We have a guest today, so we'll get into that in a minute. But first, it's December.
It is.
Time full of cookies and parties and
Buying.
celebrations.
Shopping.
Oh, yeah, that too. But a lot of
I
that's
like
on
Amazon, though.
Yeah, shopping from my couch. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Though I did go out to exchange a t-shirt about the wrong size for my husband, and they weren't open yet. So what I should have done was wait till the place opens. But instead what I did was go and buy a dress for a Christmas party and take myself to lunch and spend way more money than I had no intention of spending money. I was going to exchange a t-shirt and come home. So instead I went shopping and bought things I don't need. But I really like my purchases.
To be fair, were they opening in like 5 minutes and you did all that, or they weren't opening for like an hour and a half?
Like 30 minutes.
I'd say you're half justified.
I mean, I was going to be hungry regardless, right?
Touche. That's what you get for running errands during lunchtime.
Well, and we're going to Colorado for my company's Christmas party and Josh's birthday celebration. So I was like, well, I need a dress and something to wear to his party. And I don't know. It's not need as much as want, and I don't care. I did it anyway. Treat yourself.
You're an adult. You can do that.
Going to Colorado, I want you to know how ridiculous this. I wish I could show people. Hey, maybe I'll put a picture in the show notes. I forget the altitude there, and I'm from there. I should know better. But the last time I went for training for my company, I went out with friends and had dinner, and I didn't drink any water. I maybe had like one glass. So the altitude really affects you, and I don't want to have a screaming headache the next day. So I have in my calendar 3 or 4 times on Saturday that say water, drink water, more water, and then one just says water in all caps throughout.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Do not forget your water. I'm telling you.
You got to do what you got to do, girl.
Oh, the altitude and, drinking with the party like I have to, but I don't know if you are like I am when you're out socializing with your friends. I put my phone away. Like I don't typically look at it. So what I need to figure out is how to embed into like forearm. Let's do a forearm.
Just do like a 1-in-1 plan. 1 water, 1 drink a drink. You can't.
I mean, that's a little excessive.
You can't order another drink without having a water.
I mean, if you're going to make sense, I'm not sure we can continue.
That's not what this podcast is about.
Right. It's not about being responsible or rational. Because if that's it, I don't know what I signed up for.
Logic out the window. So you're going back to Colorado. Does that bring up any throwback Christmas traditions that you want to?
Yeah. So there was, when we first got married, Josh asked about Christmas traditions because he has one specific one. I don't really have them. It's not like my family didn't like the holidays, but I grew up, my stepdad, Jewish, so we did those traditions. That made sense. But Mom and I would like decorate a tree, but it was, kind of it. So we're wanting to create our own traditions. And any, I think, calm, normal person would do something like make gingerbread cookies. But the tradition that we have come up with is, I don't know if this is a tradition as much as a problem. We have Baileys in our coffee in the morning and then like mimosas in the midday.
Okay.
That's kind of it. Josh came to me when I married him. He does oyster stew Christmas morning.
Okay.
So that is oysters. Really, it's like a pot of butter and milk with canned oysters in it. And then you eat it, or they eat it, with an entire box of oyster crackers in it until it makes a mushy mess.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm good.
That sounds not delicious to me.
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. I mean, I
But
like butter, but and oysters separately.
interesting. I've never heard of that before. Let alone
Yeah,
but only on Christmas.
yeah. I think it might be a Southern thing. I'm not 100%. I might have to Google it. But yeah, we don't have a ton of traditions yet. We like to have Bailey's in our coffee, and then that Bailey's bottle will sit in the fridge literally till next year, and I throw it away. It's the only time we have Bailey's.
Hmm.
But that's it. We haven't come up with anything. Olive is 4 now, so maybe we'll start doing, you know, the cookies with Santa or something like that. But so far, the traditions are putting something together for her and watching movies till late and drinking Bailey's in the morning. It might
There
just
you
be
go.
normal life. Do you have any traditions?
Um, we had when I was growing up a pretty structured. Like my grandparents came over and we weren't allowed to go downstairs until they were ready. But the place we had to wait on the stairs, you could see down into the living room, and we each had like an area set up with our stockings and like a big gift from Santa. And you could see where my brother sat, so he could see his big gift like early, which always irked me. But we would that was the rule. We had to stay upstairs until it was time, and then we'd go open the stockings and the big gift, and then we'd do breakfast, and then my dad would pass out presents, and we took turns. So it was more just like the ritual of it. Um, we don't have kids yet, so not as much with any kind of new traditions. I think it's just more fun to build them around having kids,
Yeah,
and
probably.
the fun for
I mean,
them.
yes.
But I mean, yes, that's how it works. I have a kid.
It sounds grinchy or woe is me, and I definitely don't mean it like that. But the holidays can be so hectic,
Hmm.
and visiting parents. My parents been split since I was 3, so it was visiting this family, that family. That it wasn't always chill and relaxing, and we didn't create a lot of traditions, and so for a long time it felt like kind of a hassle to me. So having a kiddo has definitely brought the magic back.
Hmm.
She was in the bathtub last night, and her song went like this: um, "Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, ha ha ha, on Halloween night." And I was like, "What?"
Wait, where? Does she even know what snow is for real? I guess
Yeah.
going back to Colorado, she
Well, I
should
mean,
know.
if she has a memory when she was 18 months, but yeah, it's brought the magic back for sure. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is why the people that are like bananas about Christmas are like, I've always liked the time of year. People seem to be kinder. Everything is like, I don't know, every day in December kind of feels like a weekend day because there's always something going on, or you get to do shopping for someone else, or I get to talk to family members I maybe don't talk to all the time and ask what their kids want for Christmas and, put it in the Amazon cart.
I
So
mean,
I typically like it.
so far for Christmas for Amazon, I've mostly ordered things for myself. But this year we are going to Cancun for Christmas because of that aforementioned not having kids plan. So I'm pretty sure our next episode will drop while I am on the beach. It'll be a good time. So why not? Because we can.
Oh my
So
gosh. Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
So there's a new tradition. We'll see how long.
Cancun.
We'll see how long escaping for Christmas sounds, but
It's kind of fun. We stay home as of the last 3 years, which has been really nice. But when we moved back to Colorado, I'd love to say, no, we're staying home and anyone can come over. And maybe they will.
hmm.
But I mean, it's also not that big of a deal to get in the car and go 15 miles to a family member's house. Like, the point is to be together.
Yeah, it can be, and some people get specific expectations, so it can be kind of tough to meet everyone's. But
Well, I come
as
from a long line of drinkers, so most people are okay.
as as
Everybody just wants to relax.
as evidenced by the Baileys and mimosas. I'm just kidding.
Yes, yes.
That sounds like a lovely idea.
Yeah, it's fun because we just hang out. I try not to get out of my pajamas. That's kind of my thing for Christmas. All day, like that's it. And at some point in time, like midday, late day, I like to play games.
Okay.
My mama's always here for Christmas, and then when we live in Colorado, our friends come over at some point in time. Do you do friend stuff? Like any kind of like friend dinner or cocktail hour or?
We do on Thanksgiving. We have for Christmas Sometimes just us. But I usually make monkey bread in the morning.
Yes.
And
Oh my gosh, I
then,
love that.
and then, we do a handful of gifts. And my husband never had stockings growing up. So it's been interesting to see the evolution for him of like learning how stockings work. And like the first year he put like a nice pair of earrings in there, and I was like, no, this is for like
Gum.
mechanical pencils. Like this
Right.
is not nice gifts. You take credit for those.
But you put a red delicious or an orange in my stocking, we're done.
Oh yeah, not a fruit person, huh?
It's a lie and a farce. Those are bullshit pieces of fruit. I don't care who you are.
Oh well. Oh, so Granny Smith would be okay. You're
Yes.
discriminating on the type of apple.
Clementines would also be okay.
Tiny oranges.
Yeah. My mother-in-law is the best stocking giver, but she goes overboard so much that she hangs the stockings with stuff in it, and then there's always like a bag under it because she couldn't get it all in the stocking. It's so much fun.
That's the best. I feel like it's like food too. Like grazing is better.
Yeah.
Like stockings. I want to get a lot of little presents.
So your husband is Dominican and Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have stockings. Did they have a tradition you're not used to?
Not really. I mean, they didn't start getting a tree and doing Christmassy stuff until his younger sister, was getting older and figuring it out. So he's a great gift giver, but they didn't really do anything specific unless there's some whole tradition I'm forgetting about and I'm going to get in trouble. But I don't think there's any real. Thanksgiving is a bigger holiday for them. So they come down every year for Thanksgiving, and there's specific foods they make that he loves, that his mom makes, that I need to learn how to make. And so I don't think Christmas is just as much the jam for them. But
Well, you won't get in trouble. I mean, it's not like our husbands actually listen to this.
there's a
I mean,
little
they love us, but-
Easter egg in there. I like that. We'll
Yeah,
see
right?
if they come up with it. I love it. Speaking of, I don't know. I have no segue. Again, the partners in crime. Our third
You're going to tell everybody about our awesome, awesome guest.
Our third partner in crime for today is the lovely Rachel Rogers, and we'll talk more about all the exciting things that she does and her super long title. With her, we're going to get into band stuff, past job stuff, trips to Amsterdam.
Groupie stuff? Or is that just me?
I'm a groupie. I have a shirt. So let's go chat it up with Rachel.
Sweet! Rachel, welcome to the podcast. You like that?
Only because you did that.
The sound effects make it.
Yeah, sound effects are like what I do most days when I don't understand something. So it works perfectly for me.
The boopity boop. That's my trademark phrase.
I do like your boopity boop. I usually go with I love lamp. I don't know what's going on. Just I love lamp.
That was a great intro.
Definitely progressive.
Mm-hmm.
We have
quoting bibbidi bop.
We have 3 time zones covered today. If only we had found someone in Mountain Time, we would have.
Do we really want a mountain man on the call?
Well, there's mountain women. Don't you worry. Rachel, I feel like you're wonderful, and if people don't know who you are, then they're probably not listening to this. But just in case, we're going to recap. You have a super long title at BMC Software. IT Senior Service Manager, Sales Channels, CPQ, and EBC. Lots of acronyms. I like it. But I feel like most of the people listening either know you as the Houston User Group Leader or as Apex of Apex and the Limits.
Yeah, or just as that girl who gets into a lot of trouble on Twitter. That's probably also a thing.
And I also sort of feel like I live vicariously through your life because I see fun things you post about your house on Facebook. And I'm quite curious about this Drunken Christmas tradition that I've seen recently. So
Yes.
Please tell us more about that.
It's not an idle threat. I'm there next year.
Oh, I totally have room for you.
Good, because you're like 8 years running, and I was like, that's enough years for me to show up.
Yeah. So Drunken Christmas started. Basically, my family moved from from Louisiana to Texas. My goodness, I can't even get my state straight. So we moved, and one of the big things when we moved is we had no family here, right? And so it was one of those things where it was like, okay, before your friends all go off and do whatever they're going to do, and everybody disappears for the holidays, why don't we do something really fun? And so, of course, when you're coming out of college and all that fun stuff, and, frat parties still sound pretty cool. Why don't you throw a drunken Christmas? And so we said, hey, it's the only party where you don't have to be stuck with stuffy coworkers. You don't have to deal with your family. Crazy cousins aren't invited unless you invite them, and then that's your problem. But you get together and you just have a bunch of fun. And so the whole thing is we always cook the main course, which this year was jambalaya, which I have a really big cast iron pot, which, by the way, the pot itself weighs 30 pounds empty. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is torture. So we have that. And then, of course, we provide some of the liquor. There was a pretty impressive photo on the
there's
Facebook.
A lot, actually.
Yeah. Showing.
And we do the mixers, and then there's always an activity, right? So this year we did Reindeer Games. And so there were 2 activities. One, you had spaghetti and gumdrops, and you had to build something. There are no limits on what you could build. You just had to build something. So that really screwed with people, because when you tell people build something, but there's no rules,
they wanted requirements.
Yeah. They were like, are we going for the tallest structure? Are we going, for the most Christmas themed?
Oh, there was a prize?
There's always a prize at Drunken Christmas. And the prize is serious. It is called bragging rights for an entire year. Okay?
And I love activities.
My gumdrops are better than yours.
Yeah, and so the other one, though, I dare you to try this at your house. It's still Christmas time. Go buy you some candy canes. Okay?
Step 1.
Step 1, buy the candy canes. Step 2, take them out of the box. Step 3, place one of said candy canes in your mouth with like the stick part where the hook part's still at the bottom, right? Place the rest of the candy canes in front of you in a pile, and then try to pick up as many as you can within a minute and stick them in a solo cup without using your hands.
like sea monkeys.
Pretty much.
Or the game, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
I feel like I would just knock over the solo cup.
Well, you can have a friend hold the cup.
Oh, teamwork. Okay.
Yeah.
But
it's a race. It's a race, right? So you get like on opposite sides of the table, and you see who can get the most in the cup. We had one guy got 5, but that was like all people could do because we gave a minute time limit.
Yeah.
So, and you look like a bunch of retards down there like this, but it's,
That's the point. I mean, if you're not looking silly at Drunken Christmas, then I don't know. You're doing it wrong.
How many people were over?
We had 30-something people.
What?
Yeah.
I did not even know that. That's amazing.
I'm curious who won. Let's give them bragging rights right now. What's their gumdrop spaghetti concoction?
So Krystal Carter actually won.
Nice.
From here in Houston. Yep. Hey, Krystal. And she built a spaghetti gumdrop amphitheater complete with a red curtain that she used some candy canes that were on the table to compile the curtain.
Good Lord. That's amazing.
All I'm going to tell you is if you show up, you better bring your A game, because like we've had years where we've done gingerbread houses and people get really serious. The only rule is you have to build it on site. That's it.
It's like a hackathon of food.
Okay, Christy. Drunken Christmas live podcast.
There you go.
Prior to many beverages, because Lord knows we don't need that in the archives. But I think we should make it happen.
It's always the first Saturday of December every single year. Like clockwork. So mark it down. Be there.
I mean, this could also just be like Saturday of random month.
Yeah, but I mean, you really going to get candy canes in random months?
Touche.
It's a point.
And then you can't call them Reindeer Games.
No, you can't.
I don't know where the reindeers go the rest of the year, but not to my house.
They hibernate. It's a fact. Look it up. Mm-hmm.
They're
So
like deer.
okay, so your timeline of life. I feel like you said you went to Houston from Louisiana, but then you went to the University of Houston. So were you already in Houston and then you went over here and then over there? Tell me about your migration cycles
How
of
about
life.
this? I changed college 3 different times and graduated in 3.5 years.
Sweet.
Make that math work.
I d-
And I implemented an instance of Salesforce while doing all of that. I was also part of a sorority, and I don't know what else I did. Oh, I dated a bunch of boys. Um,
You got some
that was
learning in there
kind
somewhere,
of,
so that's good.
yeah. I mean, I graduated. That's like half the battle.
It
Um,
is.
and I actually, one of the instances of Salesforce I implemented was actually the University of Houston. So while I was a student there, I became part of the Sales Excellence Institute, which is the
Okay.
#1 sales program in the world for a university, and had them create a special class, which is even bonus points there, to evaluate CRM technology because they were using this outdated thing called Davari, which look it up, probably doesn't exist anymore because it was bad. It's bad.
Wait, pause.
Pause.
You're in school, getting a degree, drinking, dating, and then all of a sudden you were like, I should learn all there is to know about CRMs and implement it for my university. Like, how did you get there? How did
No,
Salesforce come to
so
you?
yeah, okay. It's called the luckiest Google search of my life. So no, seriously. So we left Louisiana. I did an internship at Oceaneering International, which was an oil and gas company here in Houston. That internship, I basically wasn't going to be happy being the file clerk, so I worked my way into the bids proposals department of actually quoting umbilicals, which is flexible pipelines with unique engineering specs to other companies and customers. And while I was doing all of that, the in-house tool that they had called Encompass broke. And so my manager at the time was like, "Hey, you're
Intern.
young and you seem maybe computer somewhat savvy," because I, by the way, invented standard PowerPoint template. So at that point, yeah, I
That's
Googled
high tech.
CRM. It's
Okay.
it's super high tech. I Googled CRM and Salesforce came up. And so it was a very young company out in San Francisco called a call center, by the way. And this guy was like, "Yeah, we really don't have any local reps." And I'm like, "Well, that's kind of cool, but I mean, could you send me some information?" And so led a CRM evaluation cycle for Oceaneering, ended up selecting Salesforce through all of that, going to college, and which again, work out the timetables, right? 3.5 years to graduate college, have a full-time job, and do all this. Like, I always remember my distinct memory is it was break for the university. It was spring break, and I was in Amsterdam doing an international trade show over my spring break week for the oil and gas company because it just all worked out. So it's like, who can say they go to Amsterdam for spring break, right?
And
That's
with someone else
brilliant.
paying for it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
really no real responsibilities. I mean, yeah, you were doing the trade show, but you're an intern.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it was your responsibility to bring in $40,000 worth of business or anything.
Right.
That's pretty
Exactly.
awesome. Do you want to share any stories about Amsterdam, or would you like us to just
Uh,
move on?
I don't really have any. I mean, that's like so sad, but I don't.
Well, you
I
were very
don't have like
dedicated. 3.5
the.
years, okay?
I
Three and a
know.
half years.
I know. Fun was not obviously in the agenda that much. But then, so the University of Houston like had a similar thing where I joined this program and I saw this outdated tech and I was like, this just is not going to work. And so I went and talked to the professor and said, "Hey, do you know this cool technology called Salesforce?" And he was like, "No." I said, "Well, I think you should evaluate it." And he was like, "Well, how about we run a summer class where you and a couple of other classmates can like evaluate these things, then make a recommendation, and then implement it for the university." And
Okay.
so, yeah, so they went with Salesforce, and I implemented their instance of Salesforce, which they still use today, which is some 12 years later.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. I don't know if that answered your question, Melinda, but that was the madness. That was my life.
I don't really remember the
And
question.
then you've been
Oh, yeah. How'd you get to
Salesforcing
Salesforce?
ever since, I guess.
Yeah, I actually I've been industry independent, so I worked oil and gas, right? So at Oceaneering, our motto was everything from sea to space. So we did subsea floor layouts, and we actually worked with astronauts. And then we built the Jaws ride at Universal Parks. So that's cool too. So I did that. I ran their Salesforce instance globally, and then had enough of that because it was 98% international travel. And so I figured, hey, might want to do something else with my life, like be home. I don't know, have a life. So went to this company called The Planet, which hosted 5% of the world's internet. So worked with a bunch of really geeky geeks who built servers, which I was like, that's cool. We used to literally have in the break room server building competitions. It was like, who can build the server the fastest?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. And we had a leaderboard too. So it was serious business.
Yes, I love a leaderboard.
Yes, a good leaderboard's amazing. And then I went and worked for waste management. So I worked in the waste industry, which is actually really cool because one of the things I didn't know about the waste industry is, especially at waste management, they actually like take the gas off of the like waste plant that's being produced off the waste and convert that into energy, which actually powers like local schools and stuff around the area for that particular waste facility, which is pretty cool to be able to recycle in that way. And then I came and worked for BMC. And then BMC went through this whole like privatization movement. And so I went back into oil and gas and worked for the world's only flexible steel pipe company.
Small niche. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, wrap your head around that. That took me forever.
They still have to track
is it on fire?
Is it on fire? It's not on fire.
They still have to track
metal
opportunities.
Is flexible. Yeah, right. They do.
You know, like there's still assets.
Yeah, there was a whole supply chain thing, right? Because you had to order the polymer in enough time to build the pipe, but you could only build one pipe size at a time. So it's not like you could just have unlimited amounts of polymer or unlimited amounts of steel. So you basically had to compare your Salesforce forecast of deals against your procurement needs and then do just-in-time delivery of procurement materials to the plant to manufacture to be able to put on a truck. So
who'd ever think that that's a sentence you would say? You know what I mean? Like, do you ever think about that? Like, how did you went, like, let's go to school for marketing. And then, like, we're talking about, and I actually sort of understood the sentence you just said. And, like, I never, anyway, sorry. Okay, so flexible steel time, check.
Yep, and then now I'm back at BMC. I'm a repeat BMCer.
Running
in
all
the
kinds
IT
of
department.
Things with senior service.
How long were you there before you left, and then how long have you been there this round?
That's a lot of fairly fancy questions.
Vague. Give me vague. I'm just trying to lead into my next question. So if you could just give me a vague answer.
I'll just start right now. I've been back a year and a half. How about that?
So, and you have a management role, management title.
Yes.
So you are in a position to be a mentor. So what I'm getting at eventually is, did you have a really inspirational mentor in your life? And are you paying it forward and inspiring either people under your wing or maybe even women under your wing that are new to the tech world?
I wouldn't say I had a mentor. I would say I had a lot of really hard-ass bosses.
That can work too.
Coming from oil and gas, being a female in oil and gas, and we'd all like to say, hey, we're a very progressive nation, all these wonderful things. But there are so many things where, I've had to listen into a meeting. Oh, don't worry, your pretty little head. Really? Let me tell you what this pretty head's going to tell
you.
And so I think because of dealing with situations like that, it was just always, my favorite song, my theme song. Okay. So I have a theme song.
Of course you do.
It's King of Anything by Sarah Bareilles. And it basically sits there and it says, who made you the king? Like, you're nobody to me, right? Like, I define me and I'm going to do this for me. And so that's kind of always been my mantra of, you know what? The only person stopping me is me. And, my biggest thing, I run a team of 6 people. So I have one report in Pune, India, and the other 5 are here on site. And then I oversee dotted line about 5 or 6 other ones. And so my thing has always been, with my team in particular, I actually just had someone who left. And I told her from the day we met, I said, from this point forward as your manager, my job is to get you to where you're ready to leave, to where you're ready to go spread your wings, to where you're ready to do something more. And I'm going to teach you what I can along the way to prepare you for that. But ultimately, you've got to do your own journey. You've got to do what's right for you. And no one can really tell you what those things are. They can just teach you what they know and what they've learned along the way. So, I mean, yeah.
It's good. I mean, being a teacher is as well. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't think you always know when you're someone's mentor. I don't think it's like you have a sit down and you pass a little sheet of paper like a negotiation of salary, like, will you be my mentor? Check the box, yes or no. Yeah. So I mean, you may not always know, but being a teacher is essentially being a mentor. And that's awesome to keep pushing people because, I've had some conversations with some friends recently that, companies act pissed or hurt or resentful when you leave. And you really should be in a position to teach. And like you said, I'm going to teach you to spread your wings. Maybe every position isn't like that, but when you go into it with the notion that I'm going to teach, keep learning, do what's good for you. And then when this is no longer your seat on the bus and you want to leave, more power to you. Nobody wants to feel like they're in a situation where if you find something better, you're afraid to say something to your people.
Yeah, I think the other side of that too is I quite frankly don't want you to work for me if you can't learn anything else. Like, right. If you don't have that appetite, if you feel that you have plateaued out, right? I don't need you to be comfortable. I work in a very innovative environment. I mean, just today I'm talking about integrating Alexa and how to bring different, and how AI has an importance in the world and what all of those things are. I need you to be progressive. I need you to be innovative. On my team, we have a project board where we run about 30 different Salesforce projects all the time. And the number one thing I tell them is don't get comfortable because just when you've learned this one project you're on, you're managing 5 different ones. The next 5 are going to be completely different. And I'm doing it on purpose, right? Like I'm not giving you the same business processes or the same people to interact with because you need to constantly learn and refine those skills.
I know that I have learned more out of my comfort zone and for some odd reason when I'm mad, if I'm super irritated at my company or pissed at some situation, I guess I learn extra out of spite. That's just me. But yes, keeping someone out of their comfort zone keeps them to a different level of learning. You kind of have to, especially if you want to stay at the company you're at.
Well, and I think the user group is a unique opportunity for mentorship and collaboration too, that still is within the Salesforce space, but gives you a little bit of variety and, exposure, like you say, from an innovation perspective, that you have people that are using other tools that may have ideas or have done things that you haven't done beyond just your coworkers' kind of sphere of influence, which you've been involved with the user group for years, right?
A long time.
Did you take it over or start it?
I hostilely took it over.
Tell.
So I think, user groups, before they kind of became mainstream, which has really happened over the past couple of years, they were very much a local initiative. And there were no rules, there was no funding, there was no nothing. And so it was started, actually Krystal Carter was one of the kind of original people, sort of. And then this guy took it over, who will go nameless. And when he took it over, his big thing was he would basically use it for his consulting company. Like his company would pay and they would do like some really swaggy things, right? But it was pretty douchey. And it was, you guys are all laughing at me on mute. It's amazing. So he would really like use it to get clients in the door is what it was for. And I had a really hard time with that. Mm-hmm. And so I went to my Salesforce AE at the time. This is back when I worked at the Planet. And I just said, look, this could be cool, but this guy needs to go. And here's why he needs to go, because, all of these wonderful long list of reasons we won't get into. And so they made a call, which was kind of one of the first times, and it was a local AE call. It was not, there was no main user group program type thing, right? That was just starting to come around at this point in time. So they made a call and said, hey, we're going to let one of our customers own it. We're not going to have you as a consultant own it. And just kind of drew a law in the sand and said, hey, consultants can't own it. So I took it over. And at that point in time, it had 200 users and it was managed through LinkedIn. And today, our LinkedIn group, which actually is, Holly, don't listen to this, is one of our still primary communication channels, is now over 1,800 or 1,500. Lots
That's
of people.
awesome.
Okay. And a lot of that has to do with how Houston is organized, right? Houston is organized as a very like personal connection basis. In Houston, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And then what you know comes second.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of connection and network-based relationships that happen here. A lot of it's oil and gas. There's really high medical here, a lot of those industries. And so because of that, it was really making sure that the user group was a place, and LinkedIn was where they like to communicate because a lot of them were in a lot of highly regulated industries. So to post necessarily in a Salesforce success community group, which we made that migration, I helped bring the group into success communities, was a big deal because, you know, people felt like that wasn't necessarily a personal network anymore. That was more of a monitored network because it was being brought into the mothership, so to speak. And so that wasn't a place where they felt that they could be open and honest, because one of the values we said from the user group from the beginning is we understand what Salesforce tells you, but we're going to tell you how it's really done. And not that they're wrong, but they have a lot of really fancy marketing speech that doesn't always translate to practical use applications.
The dog and pony show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I think that people value that because, I mean, I like the dog and pony show and I love the videos. And I mean, there's part of me that still kind of likes to be sold because I like the inspiration of it. But like you said, how it is sold at times or how it's presented isn't always practical use, at least for a majority of us.
Well, I think there's value for both, right? I'm not saying that I would only go to community events and not go to Dreamforce. Like,
Sure.
to me, those are providing different things now. So I think the Salesforce World Tours and Salesforce-led webinars and so many of those events, they do give you that pump it up, markety feeling. But then I think the user group and the community events serve a niche purpose of the how, not just the what. You know, so getting into the pitfalls or the things you have to think of, like a consultative approach to those things as opposed to just the wow factor. I love that I'm gesturing at both of you, but jazz hands of those things. So you know,
It's definitely, if you take it from perspective of these user group events, is where I learn. Dreamforce, like there's a lot of really fancy things that go on, but a lot of Dreamforce presentations, like quite frankly, they just try to cram too much in, right? They try to have 3 guest speakers and it's only going to be 45 minutes and we're going to leave time for questions, which nobody ever gets to if you got to sit in the front row to get your one question answered. You know, those types of things. Whereas at a community event, like I actually get my questions answered, you know, and people actually have time for conversations. It's not so jam-packed that I can't go that next level of learning, and not necessarily, oh, here's how you do it in your org, but just the fact of, you know, if it's thought provoking and you have questions, I actually stand a chance of making some leg room on those questions than, you know, in Dreamforce.
I think after 4 years into it now, I learn more at either the user groups or the community events because, like you said, they're less jam-packed. They're a little more concise. There's not 4 days. It's like less choices makes it so much easier on your brain. Mm-hmm. Like there are 2 choices for the hour. You're even like the dev side or the admin side, and you flip flop around. Even the trade show floor, and I think we've talked about this before. There's like 10 people out there. So I actually want to talk to people, and especially in a consultant role now. Like who can I put in my tool belt? But the trade show floor at Dreamforce is fun. It's fun for swag. It's nice to meet people. It's a little overwhelming. In the community events, I spend more time actually trying to learn somebody's app instead of like running one of the courses or to get the stamp or whatever.
I actually, the past probably 4 or 5 Dreamforces, I have not been able to attend a session for me. I have either been in a meeting, or I have been leading a session, or I have been a backup to someone else who's leading a session in case someone actually asks a technical question. Those are fun. But I haven't been able to attend one for me, whereas like Midwest Dreamin' or Southeast Dreamin', I was able to actually go to things for me. Yeah, shout out there. which was definitely different,
I went to one this year that I wasn't speaking at. But aside from just loving general Southeast Dreamin' segues, I feel like that was also a great one for you because that was, I believe, the first time you all played together live aside from the first time, which was MVPs only. So,
Well, it was the first time the parodies, or they're not parodies, they are technically called derivative works.
The D-dubs.
The D-dubs were done in public, yeah. And I was scared shitless. It was amazing.
So tell us a little bit about, we talked about all the badass things that you do, and somehow in all of that, you also now, help lead a band. So manage band. I don't know the right lingo in the biz, but tell us how that came about and how that's been going for you.
Wait. What I really want, I specifically want to know either the drunken conversation, please, we are not doing that conversation that was let's start this derivative works, you probably didn't call it that, Salesforce band. I want to know the little moment where either you were rolling your eyes that is bananas, or it was we'll take another round of whiskeys and yes, this is the best thing we've ever thought of.
So I think the band has been a bit of an evolutionary journey. So for the thing that happened at Dreamforce that was MVPs only, that was really hey, we just wanted a jam session. Okay, so that was not what you see publicly today. That was literally we did a cover of All About That Bass. But it was the All About That Bass lyrics. We didn't change any lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that was. And it was because MVPs and user group leaders in the past had just said it would just always be cool if we could just have a jam session. Just that time at Dreamforce, we didn't have to worry about anything. You didn't have to be someone that somebody asked a question to, right? You could just be you. And you could just have a moment where you could feel as though you could breathe, because that week is chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the MVP boat party, we put this little band together because it was you know what? It just lets everybody have an outlet. And it was actually really funny because in the MVP Watercooler, which is a chatter group on Success Communities, we were trying to be covert about the band. So I would post random questions in the chatter group because Peter Chalmers actually started it. And then he invited me and a couple other people into it. And so I'd post covert questions hey, I'm looking for piano lessons for my daughter. Does anyone play piano?
Very nicely done.
We're not running a band.
Right. People in Ohio are why are you putting this here?
Yeah, pretty much. So it just kind of goes with my overall mantra of, when I post random things, there may be a meaning behind it. And so we did that. Well, then what happened, we came off of that, and it was we had met for months, right? Virtually, getting ready to do this band thing. And then all of that went away. And it was really, you come back after Dreamforce, and I always feel there's the Dreamforce,
hangover.
It's epic high. No, I don't want to call hangover because that there's just, it's just this really low.
Yeah.
Right. And you kind of, the community really goes quiet for a while.
Totally.
And there's not much going on. And then you're in the holidays and everybody just kind of gets wrapped up in all of that. And so I had continued talking to Ryan. I did not, by the way, speak to Peter or Mark at this point, and nor was I really talking to Nana on a consistent basis either. But for whatever reason, Ryan and I were still talking. And I just said one day the song "Son of a Bitch" came on, and this is amazing. I'm what if we took this song? It's crazy idea, right? What if we took the song and made it "Son of a Bitch" Why Admins Drink? And so Ryan and I jumped in a Google Doc and wrote the song. And it was well, this is pretty cool. And then we're well, now what? So I was well, I don't know. And we had already named the band at the MVP thing, Apex and the Limits. And so I was well, what if the band did it? And it was well, then, okay, but it's an online thing. And Ryan had done some of those kind of original videos before.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them were pretty well rated. Others kind of, just sat there. So I contacted Nana and I said, hey, crazy idea. You were one of the other singers. So what if the three singers got together, we did a karaoke track, and then we had this crazy notion that people should submit videos so that it wasn't about us, but it was just going to be a one-time holiday gift for the community. And so we
That's
reached
what
out.
you thought.
Yeah. So we reached out to other MVPs and said, hey, crazy idea. Are you guys game? And they said, yeah. And so then the band launched in December. And then it was like, that got really good reception with Why Son of a Bitch, Why I'm in Drink. And so we were like, okay, well, maybe we should do more. And then it just became a monthly thing, which very distinctly remember up front, Ryan going, I cannot do this monthly. I do not have this kind of time, woman. Like,
Woman.
this cannot be done. And I'm like, it's cool. It's cool. I got this. Like, you just record some lyrics occasionally. It'll be cool. Because I actually compile all the videos and all the karaoke tracks and stuff. And so then actually, ironically, Christy gives us this call about Southeast Dreamin', and I'm standing in my front yard talking on the phone to Christy going, what the hell is she smoking? Like, we do this in our PJs at home. This is not like stand on stage and do, like, she must be crazy.
I mean, that's true,
And
but
yeah, and so then I called Nana and Ryan, and they're both like, nah, like, or you seriously must be crazy now. And then let alone like somebody wants to pay for this to happen, because we weren't gonna pay for ourselves, no offense, but it's like, so yeah, then that happened, and then that really kind of launched the whole thing. And then funny enough, when we got the call for Trailhead DX, which happened 2 weeks before Trailhead DX, where Mark on Twitter just said, hey, you guys should open Trailhead DX. And I just kind of laughed. I was like, that's really cute and funny, but I doubt anything will happen there. And nope, I was wrong. And when they said, hey, we want to fly you guys all in, that was the first time Peter really got re-engaged with the band, because up until that point, right, he was just a drummer. He didn't sing on anything, so he didn't really have anything, right? And yeah, and then Trailhead DX happened, and I guess, as they say, the rest is history from there.
It's been a whole year.
It will be a whole year on December 14th. December 14th is our
Aw.
1 year anniversary.
I love it. I've got to participate. I've gotten, excuse my grammar, to participate in 2. And it's been so much fun. I'm like thinking about my wardrobe changes. The first one I did, I had a big easel paper that my daughter draws on, and I wrote the words out on it. I don't know if you always provide the words, and I just wasn't paying attention. Okay, you're nodding. Well, anyways, I wrote them out big and taped them to the wall. So when I was recording, it just looked like I knew all the words.
That's a good trick, because I thought I was like reading them and thought I was doing well. And then we started filming with the computer parts and keyboards that we bought at Value Village for like a sum total of $20, and then smashed to pieces, which was super fun. But I eventually just was mouthing nothingness. Oops.
I think that's the cool thing about the videos is like everybody gets to put their own stamp, right? It's kind of like back to Drunken Christmas, right? I don't really give you rules other than, hey, keep it, kid friendly, and have fun with it, and we'll put it together and see what happens. I think that's the coolest thing. That's the reason I do it, is because to me it's inspiration and it connects with people in a different way.
So you were on the Dreamforce stage this year, so you've already
Yes.
checked off a few of those boxes. What do you feel like is coming up next?
I really hope we get the opportunity to actually connect with people more. The reason we do the band is so that if I can make one person smile a day, then I've checked off my bucket list, right? Because there's so many people that have so many different reasons to not smile, right? Or maybe they forget to smile. So if we can be that little ray of sunshine. So we would like to have the opportunity to once a quarter, not any more than that, because let's be real people, we're not real
Right.
musicians. But get out there and meet people and get more inspiration and have a good time. Like Dreamforce, the coolest thing about the Dreamforce performance, if you could have seen it from our perspective, and I think I actually have video that I'll send you, where everybody got up and is like swaying in the audience and like they're just so engaged. It was so cool because it was like, you know what? Everybody can relate to this. We're singing, it turns out we sing a lot of songs about drinking. Surprise, surprise. But, it was
That
very
makes total
relatable.
sense.
Yeah. One of the new songs that we're writing right now,
Sneak peek.
I've tried to stay away from that, but it's not really going to work out. It's maybe something possibly to do with a forward-looking statement and how it's still safe harbor to me. But
Well, safe harbor. Yeah. Yeah.
so.
Well, I have always wondered like what it looks like from that side as a rock star, because I couldn't imagine like people just digging on your creation, collectively smiling. Like that must feel so freaking awesome.
Honestly, we were just happy people showed up. I mean, it's like, you have all this like really big excitement, and then you step out on stage and, because nobody's paid to come see you, right?
Right.
You're not the reason they're at any of the events we go to, like Southeast Stream and Midwest Stream, and they're all there for content. They're not there for you. So the fact that you can pull people away from conversations that they want to have is just mind blowing to me. It was more than 8 people, so I was totally cool with that.
They may have bought the T-shirt.
They did. Some people bought T-shirts. There's a new T-shirt coming out.
There sure is.
There's always a new T-shirt.
Oh, lead in.
It supports, I think one of the big things that the band is, as the band becomes more popular, it's our duty to give back in other ways and support other avenues. So that's the next thing that comes out. We will be supporting actually STEM, so it'll be fun.
And I am Angel.
Yeah.
The Fun Gift Squad is doing more and more T-shirts. I am a part of the squad, and I am a part of the, yes, we like this, can you change this font? But I will claim no creativeness. All of the creativity is everyone else. But we have a cool Apex shirt coming up, and then a couple other cool ones. I don't think I'm ruining the surprise. No, but they're along the lines of AW computing and universal containers. It's so awesome. So awesome.
I love it. And that's kind of a throwback too. Do they still use universal containers for everything?
I think it's just AW computing now.
Old school.
I have to go back and start studying for another cert soon, but I don't want to think about that right now. I'll just be like Scarlett. I'll think about that tomorrow.
So Rachel, it's been a lot of years that you've been using some Salesforce. A lot of orgs, lots of things before Trailhead, before official user groups. What do you think is your biggest Salesforce screw up over the years? Under pressure.
I don't know that I would say screw up, so I'm going to challenge that.
Okay.
We're in a court of law, aren't we?
I object to your nomenclature.
I think for me, like with Salesforce and in everything that has come along the way, there have been so many things that have changed, right? I was around when there were no custom objects. I saw S controls. Mm-hmm. So for me, in the beginning, there wasn't a lot of way to honestly screw stuff up because there wasn't much there. But then, as it kind of grew and as it really became a platform, mm-hmm. I think what it did for me is it always challenged those initial designs you did, right? And kind of said, hey, yeah, this was really cool back then when there were no workflow rules, but now that there are workflow rules, you might want to rethink those things. So I don't know that I would say there's like a necessarily screw up, because I think in Salesforce world that you evolve and the application evolves every single quarter. And so something that worked, a quarter ago, 2 quarters ago, it may just not be optimized for today. So it's not necessarily a screw up, right? I've had plenty of screw ups like in gathering a requirement, but that's not like a Salesforce thing. That's like a career thing. But like,
that is a personal screw up.
Yeah, pretty much. So those I've got plenty of.
A piece, a feature, a thing that's been retired that you miss?
No, because it's always been replaced by something cool.
Something better. Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's anything that's like, man, I wish I just so miss manually doing things.
Yeah, you never look back and say, can I push a boulder uphill?
Cross fingers, I hope.
Right. It's like, we'll use a, truck for that. So, no, I don't think there's anything I necessarily miss. I think, personally, when I look at my career and I go, what are the biggest screw ups? I have had very high pressure situations where maybe I haven't been as patient. And I tend to find out, when I screw up, it's because I'm not being patient. It's because you have just pushed me to that magical line that, I always say my goal in life is to be the CBO, the chief bitch officer, because then it's just right out there and you just know, like, don't worry about it. But, I think that's probably my screw up, is not being patient enough.
Well, being patient is hard. Coming from someone else that's not very patient. I was like, I validate you and you are not wrong.
I feel like that's why.
See, we're back in a court of law now.
That's why.
Yeah, right.
That's why there's a song called "Why Salesforce Admin's Dreaming."
Patience is hard. Excuse me.
No.
I work with small to mid businesses that have never seen Salesforce. So it's been such a throttle back to be patient. So I can't just skim over the shit that I was like, ugh, you already know this. Let's talk about the customizations. They were like, so on a lead. And I was like, oh my God, this is painful, but you have to be patient. But that's hard. I'm not the most patient person. I'm not even a kind of patient person. I hurry to do things for no good reason. I would not be in a hurry and just need to do them faster.
Well, then
I think that's called being progressive. At least that's what I call it.
Effective and progressive.
Efficient.
See, this relationship is working out really well.
I feel
We're
like
going to validate each other and tell us we have no faults and we're perfect.
Exactly. I mean, can you really define the word perfect? That's
I think the three on this podcast right now.
I was gonna say, I feel like you're gonna leave me for Rachel. I see how it is.
Oh,
don't worry, I cannot take on another.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I don't want.
I
you
mean,
either.
I got time for you. I mean,
Okay.
we can have these kind of calls all day, but if you're gonna record me and I got to be on a semi-good behavior, that's not gonna work out.
No.
Just drink me, hang out.
Who are you calling?
You going to
Are you
Tahoe
calling-
this year?
Ooh,
Am I going to what?
Tahoe.
Oh, all I heard was something about some tacos, and I got really hungry.
Would you like some tacos? Are you going to Tahoe dreaming?
I am not.
Well, we will miss you.
I know. See, this is what happens when you're not a consultant and you work for a large organization that's like, where's the ROI on that? I'm like, okay.
You're like, my heart is full and I want to come back in.
That's good.
Who needs a
That's
heart?
your ROI.
Who needs a heart, Melinda, really?
Mr. Grinch.
But hopefully
Exactly.
there's going to be Texas Dream in this year.
Yes.
Yes.
I know it's the whole other side of the state.
Well, see, Texas streaming is actually really interesting because Houston has the world's largest oil and gas conference that week. It's always the first week in May. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting. So going to try and make it. But at this point, can't promise anything with user group stuff going on. So working on it.
Well,
But I mean, there's always Drunken Christmas, and that's less than a year away. So
start the countdown.
exactly, we need a countdown, legit. If you make that happen, my heart would be full.
Who made Is It Dreamforce yet? We have to make them make Is It Drunken Christmas yet. Somebody can write this in Visual Force or something.
We know nerds.
We gotta know a guy.
Oh yeah, writing it down. This is going to happen.
Thank you so much for coming to chat with us.
Thank you. We
Hey,
appreciate you.
anytime, guys. Thanks for having me out.
So that was pretty freaking awesome. I feel like groupie status, being able to talk to one of the amazing Apex and the Limits band members. Plus her stories are awesome and she's kind of a badass. Always had hard bosses and is kind of pushing her team hard as well to be better. I don't know. I just think it's really stinking amazing.
Hashtag CBO.
Hashtag CBO.
Yeah, I think it's great to
King
hear.
of everything.
I think it's great to hear of, other success stories of people who have been in the industry for a long time and just about and giving back for a long time and how that is sustainable, I guess, is sort of inspirational to me that, like you said, that her mentality is still about giving and teaching and those are management skills you learn from hard bosses and learn along the way. I've had a great boss that was similar to that, and you remember those people. So whether you think, like you said, that's an official mentor or not, I think that is a great experience for her team. So it was fun to learn a different side. I feel like you don't think about daytime Rachel. I don't. I think, you think of,
Totally.
I see Facebook posts, so I think of, weekend Rachel, and then I hear band. So that's like the lighter side.
I'm 100% preparing for Drunken Christmas next year. I'm just going to make it happen. Even if it's just literally for the night. Coming in, I'm leaving. And that is the second time she said I was invited to stay, so that is all I need. Or even a sideways look.
I mean, it's not that far from my parents. So maybe that's a new Christmas tradition, is that we meet in Houston.
Oh, that would be so amazing. Well, I know we're kind of gabbing in here, but what is your super awesome fave holiday season this week?
You don't have to smack yourself with excitement there.
Oh, was that loud?
I'll tell you. So I bought a new journal to go along with this book that I'm trying to read. You saw a picture of it on Facebook? No, you're just excited?
You
have no idea what I'm going to talk about? You
have no idea.
Okay.
You don't even know. Just go on.
It's a journal, like for journaling, but also has alternate coloring pages in it and has like motivational kind of like phrases in it too. And it has a butterfly on the front, which is my relationship spirit animal, which we can talk about differently if we want. So that was kind of what attracted me to it. So it's interesting. So the thing I bought myself on Amazon was a set of Pentel markers, because there was this girl, Megan, in junior high that had the set of markers that I wanted, and I never got them. So I ordered them for myself on Amazon. And a set of colored pencils that's cool. It comes in this whole roll-up thing, and then you flip it open. So it's like portable. And they came last night, and I was sitting talking to my husband, and I was coloring, and it was wonderful. So I think that'll help me use the journal more. Actually, to journal about my potentially adult ADD that I'm looking into. So my one friend was like, if you're writing about ADD, maybe having coloring might not be the best option, but I think it will be. I think it'll be good, because then I'll want to be in it and doing it, and so we'll see. So that's going to be
very present,
an ongoing journey of coloring and journaling, and I got it at Books A Million. So we'll see if I can find it online and link to it in the show notes.
Yes, please do.
Either you need to tell me your super fave, or you need to tell me what got you so excited when I said journal.
So I know people listening may or may not believe this, but we don't always recap or preview each other's super faves. Sometimes we write it in the notes, but we didn't this week. It's on my Post-it. My super fave is in the evening. Josh goes to bed early because he flies really early. So at like 8 or 8:30, I'll turn the TV off. And I'm back to reading actual books since I'm not doing the drive with audiobooks. And I make myself some chamomile tea, and I've been journaling as well. That was my gasp. I haven't journaled in years. And that you're like, I'm journaling. I was like, oh, we're so the same, which is perfect. Like, this is another million reasons we need to be on the podcast together. But yeah, I've been like reading and just having calm moments and drinking some tea and being calm, either reading or writing. I feel like is like my form of meditation. I try meditation on and off often, but this just makes me, I feel like, sleep better and wake up kind of more calm and put together and ready to start my day. And it's only been like a week and a half, but it's super, super all-time fave at this moment.
That's so small world, random. I love you're like, I'm proving it. It was my thing. It's on my Post-it note. Oh, it does. It does say journal and tea. Tension Tamer is my current favorite tea. I'm not usually big on herbal teas. I just mainly go like
Yeah.
straight up black tea.
Yeah.
Earl Grey
Give me the
English
rush.
breakfast. But Tension Tamer is what I've been. I'm gonna go pick up at the store.
I have been drinking a lot of tea lately. I think because it's tea I like. So during the day, I'm drinking something along the same, like a stress relief kava tea, which I really like, and then the chamomile at night. The only thing is, since I'm a coffee drinker, I feel like it's not strong enough. Like I put less and less water in, and I think I might just go to 2 bags. Because the other night I chewed on the tea bag because I felt like I needed to be stronger, and then I also realized that
don't do that.
If you're chewing on a stress relief tea bag, I feel like there are much bigger things you need to look at in your life. I wasn't stressed. I just wanted more flavor.
That's a visual that I think I missed out on, and I am worse for it.
Yeah, well, if I had my own reality show, well, it would be canceled after 2 episodes, but still, those 2 episodes would be hysterical.
The Smiths.
The Smiths.
I'd watch.
Thank you.
I hope that you have a great rest of your day.
You
And
too.
we'll have one more episode right after between Christmas and New Year's in that weird week where maybe you're working, kind of getting stuff done, year end, maybe not. Maybe you should just listen to us. Maybe you should pop over to iTunes and leave us a nice little review. Maybe you should tell your coworker that sits next to you that sometimes makes lunches that smell weird that they should listen to this podcast. Because
Just don't listen to the last 2 minutes.
Is that me? I'm that guy. Tell them to give us a listen too. And in the meantime, have fun shopping and stay witty.
Wow.